Okay, fifth video now. Grabbing some reference off Google. I think the elephant's from Lord of the Rings. So I was thinking about making a saddle, so I dropped in the square primitive. Just playing around a bit, trying to make the primitive sort of like really basic seat. And I'm just thinking about how it would be attached to his back. So I start carving out these big like rock kind of things. Because I was thinking it's sort of like medieval kind of technology style, very basic. And then what I'm doing here is I'm importing a decimated version of the Hoof Beast into Maya, and I am roughly making some straps like wrap around his body, kind of like a big rucksack kind of straps. I don't know. I just felt it would be a bit easy to do in Maya, you know, get some really clean topology on there, so I can have some really sort of nice edges. But yeah, I just put it in there, extrude them out a little bit, try and make them as like streamlined as possible, and then just put them back into Zbrush and continue working on that. Yeah, I think I'm creasing the edges now. If you sort of isolate the edge of these straps and hit the crease button, when you subdivide like I've done here, it'll retain the hard sort of edge. It's just a simple way of doing it in you know, instead of having to use like H polish and stuff. So kind of cool. Here I am just sculpting out some rock-like detail using H polish and a bit of clay build-up. Didn't really sort of put much effort into this rock. You know, I was just playing around, having some fun with it really. Looks more like, I don't know, a soggy bit of wood, to be honest, but probably might come back into that a little bit, make it a bit more rock-like. But you know, I was just trying to think, you know, what would I need to make this look convincing? And you know, I thought it'd be cool. Just sort of like shove some big rock slabs on top. So I haven't really thought about like who's going to be riding this creature. It's going to be interesting to design this sort of guy. I want it to be some sort of really brutal warrior. You know, he just sort of like some sort of undefeated champion kind of thing. You know, he's all massive and stuff. I'm just duplicating the rocks here, just trying to, you know, save some time instead of sculpting different rocks and stuff. Can't really tell once it's done. So yeah, there's a lot of subtool work in this video, and if you're not really used to working with like subtools and stuff, you should really start to explore the different ways you can create stuff in ZBrush. Like, you don't always have to stay in the same subtool you're working on. Like here, I started off with the cylinder primitive, and I'm just sculpting it by itself. You know, I'm just, you know, so I didn't want to get cluttered by all the rest of the model, and it's just quite a nice way of doing stuff. Some sort of peg, and you know, when I imported it in, then it was massive, and it's just a simple case of using transpose tool to position that. It's a nice way of working, but it can get a bit poly count heavy as you're working in a separate window and stuff. So not something I have to worry about much anymore with this new PC and that. But you know, if you're sort of pushed for hardware limitations, then you might need to be a bit wary when doing that. Because I found myself in the past making really complex things when I import it into this scene that I've been working on, or this tool. The poly count really just starts to jump up and down when you start doing that. So yeah, sorting out some music, and now I am building out some sort of connector for the straps. Yeah, I really do advise, you know, if you I've seen a lot of people who avoid using subtools most of the time. They just try and sculpt everything on the same mesh. Really get out of that habit. Subtools are great. You just can't achieve some of the stuff you can do by using separate meshes, and once you get into the workflow of it, then it's real simple. Not as hard as it looks at all. So yeah, that's some sort of weird connector which I'm going to make kind of into, I don't know, like a leathery type of surface. And that's something I made, and I did not film it, which I apologise for. But all I did to make that little frame here, I started off with a cylinder primitive, stretched it out, dynameshed it, and I using just a bit of rotational symmetry to get the indentations in there, and then I just use clay buildup for the rocky kind of detail on it. Not quite sure what surface it is yet. Originally it was supposed to be bamboo, but it looks like rocks, so I don't know. Here back into Maya, making a strap for his belly, just to sort of finish that off. Same process as I did for the sides. Real simple really, to get into Maya, just decimate your model and import it in. That's all you need to do, and then just start building meshes around. I'm also thinking about how that frame attaches, and I just figure, you know, just put some straps across this middle bit here to sort of secure it down. I might reinforce it a little bit. It looks a bit weak, but it's enough for now. And yeah, I'm just trying to make, you know, just trying to build it how it would exist in the real world. Because when you do that, then it just looks good, because, you know, that is how it would be in reality, you know. So just trying to think about that with these straps and stuff, and where the placement of these things. So yeah, it's starting to get a bit more complicated now. Now it's just you know, starting to get multiple subtools in there and stuff. I've neglected the body a little bit, so I'm going to probably start sculpting out that a bit more now. Now that I've got like an idea about, you know, what this thing is going to be, and it's some sort of transportation creature for somebody, which, you know, I'm pretty cool. Pretty cool idea, I think. I've never really done anything like this. The creatures I always do always have, I don't know, they're always sort of like just, I don't know, like predators in a sense, that they just run around killing stuff, whereas in this time I'm thinking more about why this creature exists, you know, what it does and stuff, which is interesting. And here I'm building some sort of connector strap, so just to sort of visually explain how that big strap is connected to the slabs on top of his back. And it's a bit dodgy, this. It's supposed to be leather, but I really don't think I pulled it off very well. I should have got a bit more reference, to be honest with you, but I think it turned out okay, but it really doesn't look like leather at all, if I'm completely honest with you. It looks a bit odd. But I really don't think I'll change it, no. I just think I'll just leave it as it is. I think the thing about building creatures and stuff like this is that you often get lost in your own sort of world, you know, because you're working on something for so many hours. So I think I'm just going to cut myself a little bit of a break on this and just leave it like how it is. So I ended up like detailing it quite a little bit, switching out some music. So coming now with a bit of standard brush with the sort of roll functionality on it, just putting some stitching in, going around the edge of that without the roll on the standard brush, and then I begin to add some wear and tear using the /3, just trying to make it look like it's you know, been there for a while. But I do plan on putting like some sort of leathery texture on there as well, just to finish it off, but for now this is good enough. These are supposed to be some sort of heavy duty stitching, which I might touch up if I can be bothered. Just also placing that on the other side there. So that's pretty much where I'm at now. I go in here and I detail this strap a little bit. Still need to do the other side, and then I've actually been detailing the rest of the body a little bit more. His actual surface detail changes. It's going to change quite dramatically in these next few videos. Got some cool ideas. Started adding quite a lot of rock-like detail on his where his sort of forearms would be, which is pretty cool. Just trying to beef him out a little bit, you know, make him a bit more, just a bit more sort of, I guess, durable to attacks and stuff. Just adding some details on this strap a little bit, and I decided that they were too sort of square, so I just started to rough them out a little bit, make them a bit more sort of material-like. I want it to look like really, really hard leather, you know, it's been sort of worn and torn. So again, going in with /3, just, you know, spamming all over the surface here, trying to make it look cool. But I also need to add some sort of leathery sort of alpha texture over this, so it should probably look a bit more cool when I'm done. But I also came in here, what you're seeing, with the clip curve, adding some really big gouges out the side there just to add to the detail, which I thought was pretty cool. And that's pretty much it, guys.